The information in this presentation was taken from Gar Reynolds' website, which is listed on the last slide. It explains the 10 design tips for good slides that support learning. While it is meant to support real-time presentations, it is also appropriate to online learning as we use PowerPoint as the platform of delivery for our training. As you can see, even with this title slide, I have a graphic that supports the introduction and just enough text to give emphasis to the introduction. It is not overpowering and shows good use of white space. PowerPoint uses slides with a horizontal or landscape orientation. The software was designed as a convenient way to display graphical information that would support the speaker and supplement the presentation. The slides themselves were never meant to be the star of the show. That is you or your audience. People came to hear you and be moved by or informed by you and your message. Don't let your message and your ability to tell a story get derailed by slides that are unnecessarily complicated, busy, or full of what Edward Tufte calls chart junk. Nothing in your presentation should be superfluous, ever. Your slide should have plenty of white space, or sometimes called negative space. Do not feel compelled to fill empty areas on your slides with your logo or other unnecessary graphics or text boxes that do not contribute to better understanding. The less clutter you have on your slide, the more powerful your visual message will become. Your presentation is for the benefit of the audience, but boring an audience with bullet point after bullet point is of very little benefit to them. Which brings up the issue of text. The best slides may have no text at all. This may sound silly given the dependency of text slides today, but the best PowerPoint slides would be virtually meaningless without the narration, that is you. Remember, the slides are meant to support the narration of the speaker, not make the speaker superfluous. Let's look at some examples. This first slide is not unusual, but it is not a visual aid. It is more like an eye chart. This slide is what you might see if speaking of maybe gender equality in Japan, but you want to try to avoid these text-heavy and, for a matter of fact, sleep-inducing slides like this one. Aim for something like this simple slide, which has a graphic and just a small phrase. However, the best use of graphics is to support the message. Let's look at this one. This conveys the same message or supports the same message, but it gives the user the balance between a concept such as 72% and women in Japan. Your explanation or audio narration is then the message. And now my favorite topic, bullets, or not the use of bullets. We see these being animated all the time on maybe every slide. Now, some animation is a good thing, but stick to the most subtle and professional. Sometimes we'll even see them spinning or even flying around the screen. All that does is disrupt the flow of information or the learning that's taking place. A better method, and these types of things sometimes people do to make the topic interesting, which, as a matter of fact, all it does is interrupt the message. The best use is what I normally do and just choreograph the text on the screen with what you're saying. In other words, when I talk about a bullet, or in this case just a phrase, and a matter of fact, I eliminated the round bullet at all and just had the text there. So listeners will get bored very quickly if they are asked to endure slide after slide of these animated text or even graphics. So if you're going to animate, I suggest that you use the appear animation, such as here. The fact that it appears at an appropriate time gives it the significance that it needs. Another point is to use high-quality graphics. Use high-quality graphics, including photographs. You can take your own high-quality photograph with your camera, or you can purchase professional stock photography or use the plethora of high-quality images available online. Always recognizing the issue of copyright, use of the fair use concept. So you want to make sure that you always give credit to any of the images or text, for that matter, that you pull off the internet. As a matter of fact, at the end of my presentation, I'll have a reference page listing where I got the graphics and some of the information. You want to avoid using PowerPoint clip art or other cartoonish line art. Again, if it is included in the software, your audience has probably seen it a million times before. This might be a better example of using PowerPoint. In this case, you have a picture and just a few phrases. Now, not all PowerPoint art is dreadful, but you do want to use it carefully and judiciously. People are important. Anytime you can use people to help represent your topic, the more personal you make it to the audience. In this example, the picture is the most prominent part of the slide with a simple caption. In this picture, the graphic is secondary, but still supports the message of, in this case, PrezoCom Incorporated. So, judicious use of graphics, whether they're the most prominent part or a lesser prominent part, will help convey your message. You need to have a visual theme, but avoid templates. So you clearly need a consistent visual theme throughout your presentation, but most templates included in PowerPoint have been seen by your audience countless times, and besides, the templates are not at all that great to begin with. Your audience expects a unique presentation with new, or at least to them, content. Otherwise, why would they be attending your talk? No audience will be excited to hear about a cookie-cutter presentation, and we must therefore shy away from any supporting visuals, such as the ubiquitous PowerPoint design template that suggests your presentation is formulaic or even pre-packaged. Let's now talk about charts. Always be asking yourself, how much detail do I need? Presenters are usually guilty of including too much data in their on-screen charts. There are several ways to display your data in graphic form. Let's look at a few of them. This first one is just simply a pie chart, but it's very simple. In this case, it's used to show percentages, but you want to limit the slices to 4 to 6 and contrast the most important slice either with color or exploding the slice as viewed here. And next you have the vertical bar chart. It's used to show changes in quantity over time. It's best if you limit the bars to 4 to 8. The horizontal bar chart, it's used to compare quantities. In this example, comparing sales figures among the 4 regions of the company. And then finally, line charts. They're used to demonstrate trends. For example, this simple line chart shows that our sales have gone up every year. The trend is good. The arrow comes in later to underscore the point, our future looks good. Let's look at tables. In general, tables are good for side-by-side comparisons of quantitative data. However, the tables can lack impact. If you want to show how your contributions are significantly higher than the other two parties, it would be best to show that form in a bar chart. If you're trying to downplay the fact that your contributions are lower than others, however, a table chart will best display that information, but in a less dramatic way. So it depends upon what the intent is of your table. And now let's talk about color. Color evokes feelings. Color is emotional. The right color can help persuade and motivate. Studies show that color usage can increase interest and improve learning comprehension and retention. There's much documentation available in the proper use of color. Let's look at a few. PresentationPro.com has some great flash tutorials, including one on color. CreativePro.com, you can go there to learn more about color. And Dummies.com, it has a good article on how to use color schemes in PowerPoint. There are methods that you can use to actually use those in PowerPoint to be more effective. Fonts communicate subtle messages and of themselves, which is why you should choose fonts deliberately. Use the same font set throughout your entire slide presentation, and use no more than 2 complementary fonts, such as maybe Arial and Arial Bold. Make sure you know the difference between a serif font and a sans serif font. In other words, without the serifs. Serif fonts are said to be easier to read at small point sizes, but for on-screen presentation, the serifs tend to get lost due to a relatively low resolution of projectors. Sans serif fonts are generally used best for PowerPoint presentations. So Times is a serif font, Arial is a sans serif font. A compromise between the two, a pretty good font to use, is Gill Sans, which is what this presentation is made. Regardless of what font you choose, make sure the text can be read from the back of the room. Use audio and video when appropriate. Using video clips to show concrete examples promotes active cognitive processing, which is the natural way people learn. You can use video clips within PowerPoint without ever leaving the application or turning on the DVD player. Using a video clip will not only illustrate your point better, it will also serve as a change of pace, thereby increasing the interest of your audience. You can use audio clips such as interviews as well. Something to avoid, however, is the cheesy sound effects that are included in PowerPoint, such as the sound of a horn or applause when transitioning slides. The use of superfluous sound effects is attached to animations is a sure way to lose credibility with your audience. Let's talk about how you can use the slide sorter in modifying your presentation. This is an actual screenshot of the presentation. This presentation in Slide Sorter View. According to the segmentation principle of multimedia learning theory, people comprehend better when information is presented in small chunks or segments. By getting out of the slide view and into the slide sorter view, you can see how the logical flow of your presentation is progressing. In this view, you may decide to break one slide into 2, or maybe 2 or 3 slides, so that your presentation has a more natural and logical flow or process. On this particular presentation, I did this with slides 6 and 7. That was going to be one slide, but it made more sense to break it up into 2. So in this view, you will be able to capture more of the gestalt of your entire presentation from the point of view of your audience. You will be able to notice more extraneous pieces of visual data that can be removed to increase visual clarity and improve communication. So let's review the 10 points. You want to keep it simple. Keep the slides simple. Give good use of white space. You want to limit your bullet points and text. Less is more, if you will. Feng Shui, or as Gar Reynolds' book, Presentation Zen, all these beg for limiting bullet points and text. If you're using animations, simple animations are best. The most that I probably ever use is simply the appear animation. And of course, you want to use high quality graphics. Cheesy graphics make your presentation cheesy. So you want to put your best foot forward and be as professional as you can. And you can do this with graphics libraries that you can maybe purchase. There's some free graphics out there. And of course, anytime you use anything from the internet for educational purposes, you do have the fair use principle involved. But you always want to give credit, and that would be with a reference page. And of course, you can always take pictures with a camera. Having a standard visual theme is really important, but you want to avoid the cookie cutter effect from the templates that are available within PowerPoint. We've seen them all in every PowerPoint presentation. If you've seen enough of them, you've seen the same ones over and over and over. So it's fairly easy to create your own, or even modify maybe the one that you might get from PowerPoint to better suit your needs. Using appropriate charts. You can use charts, but they have to be for effect. You should be able to compare or contrast something when you use the charts. Color is very important because it displays emotion, and using color well can help convey your message. And of course, understanding fonts. The serif fonts, such as Roman, Times New Roman, and such, they're actually made for print, and they're more pleasing to the eye on the printed page. But you probably want to avoid those when you make demonstrations with PowerPoint. You would go with a sans serif font, maybe like Arial. Using audio and video appropriately can really give emphasis to your message. There's lots of video out there now that can help explain just about any topic, and it can support your message. And when thinking of the segmenting principle, you can use the slide sorter for this. So this gives you that 10,000-foot view of your presentation. And it allows you to maybe rearrange things or put them in better order, or maybe expand or contract some of the slides. So these are the 10 pointers that Gar Reynolds has written about, and I wanted to explain those to you in this presentation.